Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to continue our last lesson on the custom image slider or carousel. If you have not checked out my previous lesson on how to use JavaScript, you can find the link in the description below. As you would recall, previously we designed our image slider on Glitch. I've transferred over all the code to Codesandbox because it's much easier to work with. In case if you need to refer to the source code, you can find the link in the description as well. So go over to Glitch and copy the HTML and the CSS files and copy paste in the code sandbox. Make sure you are importing the styles.css correctly like this. Just to recap on what we did last time, we have a basic HTML site here. We have added some slides and some slide navigation buttons. Also, we have added some basic CSS styling to make our slides look better. Now, we are going to add some additional stylings, and later we will use JavaScript to add and remove these animation classes to make our slider look animated. First of all, let's hide slide 2 and slide 3. So let's start by setting the opacity for the left, right panels, slide 2 and slide 3, so that we can see our slide 1 as default. Next, add a class called FlexActive to the slide to show when a particular slide becomes active. Set the class to slide 1 because slide 1 is our active slide at the moment. Now we are going to add some CSS classes for the slide animation. Animate start class is used to set the initial condition before the animation takes place. We would want the background to slide in from left to right. So we are going to use translate 3D and the Y axis. We're going to set the position negative 200%. So it will be out of the screen. Next, the text button is going to slide from left to right as well. So does the product image. Now we are going to add the final condition after the animation took place. Since we have used the transition CSS property, the animation will take place automatically when we add and remove these classes using JavaScript later. So go ahead and add animate start to slide 2 and slide 3. Create a JavaScript file and add it to the HTML file. Let's open up the console and see if our JavaScript was loaded. Great. Hey guys, I need your help. I love creating tutorial videos and sharing with you guys, but YouTube needs 1,000 subscribers before it starts monetizing the video, and we are nowhere near that. The goal is to reach this target as content creation needs equipment, resources, and assistance. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so that I can continue making these videos. Or buy me a coffee. You can find the link in the description. For those who already subscribed, I thank you. Before you start writing a script, make sure to plan out what you want to achieve. Start by writing comments and list down each step. So the goal that we want to achieve here is first, we want to get the DOM elements. The second goal is to set some initial condition when the script first loads. And then we are going to write some function which will get triggered when the arrow buttons are clicked. And lastly, we're going to write a function that will listen to mouse click events when the arrow buttons are clicked. First, create variables for the buttons with their respective ID. We are going to use event listener to listen for mouse click events. So whenever the button is clicked, this function will be called to run. So let's give this a try. So now we're going to target our slides from the HTML DOM. Here's how you do it. We will use the get elements by class name, which will retrieve all the elements with the class flex container from the DOM. This will be an array, and we can see that there are 3 slides in our HTML. First, set the current slide to 0. Remember that the array index starts from 0, not 1. Check out my previous video if you need to go through the basics of JavaScript. Next, let's create functions and name them go to next slide and go to previous slide accordingly. And test the buttons out and see if the correct function is being called whenever the button is clicked. For our reference, let's create variables called previous and next slide. The current slide variable keeps track of which slide is currently active. In order to get to the previous slide, all we have to do is to pass the current slide index to retrieve the previous slide in the deck. And for the next slide, we just need to pass the current slide plus 1 as an index. Let's add some logic to our function here. We need to check if the current slide is the last slide in the deck. If yes, go back to the first slide in the deck so that it will look like we are looping over the slides. If not, go to the next slide. Now add and remove these animation classes like this. Now that the button is working, let's update the current slide once the animation is complete. Our go to next function working perfectly. Let's move to the next function. So now we're going to work on the go to previous slide function. So let's add some logic over here. So we're going to check if the current slide is the first slide in the deck. If yes, we're going to set the next slide to the last slide so we can actually loop over the slide. If not, we're going to go to the previous slide. Continue adding and removing the CSS animations like this. I'm gonna use set timeout to add some delay between adding these classes and removing these classes so that the animation looks much better. You can play around with the delay time. I'm setting 800 over here. You can actually increase or decrease based on your preference. I've made a mistake over here. So make sure you refer to the correct CSS classes. Let's go ahead and fix that. Cool. There you go. Looks like our image slider is working. If you find yourself stuck, you can refer to the source code in the description. That's all for this video. I'll be doing some videos on mobile app development next. So stay tuned and do subscribe to my channel. Happy learning!